in the room. Do we have anyone from the public that wishes to speak before we begin our meeting?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is Bob Fryer. I don't necessarily want to be first. Is there anybody else that wants to talk?
Oh, it's Pat de Blasio. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Pat. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And welcome again to Mr. Cower. This is his first meeting, and I am particularly saddened to hear of Norm Miller's passing. He provided our community through scouting. It was an exemplary thing. And so, I'm just saddened to hear of his passing. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Bob Fryer.
Yes, hi, everybody. I just wanted to mention, first of all, the monthly school board meeting at the Chartiers Valley School District is tomorrow at 6:30. But the public still can't go to the meeting. You have to do it over Zoom. But I guess that's when they're going to decide how they're going to handle teaching for the next several months. Many of you guys might want to check in with that. But at any rate, my main comment is last week I mailed letters to you guys explaining several reasons why I feel that I could be very helpful to the new manager, the engineer, and you guys to help improve everything in Bridgeville. I think that my helping make presentations before the federal, state, and county agencies that have the millions to give communities like Bridgeville would be important, because the data that I have accumulated proves that Bridgeville has never received its fair share of those funds. And I think with our two new, our new manager and engineer, I think we can really actually get millions for projects in Bridgeville, not just hundreds of thousands. And in terms of some people that might suggest that I'm capable of being helpful to you guys. Here are some experts. In addition, Professor Euler sent a very nice letter to everybody. I think last week. I didn't know he was going to do that. But at any rate, I want to give you some names of some people that you can contact at various agencies that I've been talking to for several years, and you can check with them about the availability of funds. But naturally, I've checked with them about what they thought of my solutions to some of the Bridgeville problems. At the Army Corps of Engineers, by the way, there are two fellows you can make notes of, Alan Edis, E-D-I-S, and Mike Deveris, and you can reach them at 412-395-7500. And in terms of the guys, the person I talked to about extending the Willing Lake Erie Railroad Bridge so we can add 2 more lanes under it, the fellow who called me back and spent 20 minutes on the phone with me, liking the idea and pledging the company's support, was Casey Conner, C-O-N-N-E-R, and what he liked was the fact that I was suggesting a 2-stage construction phase that wouldn't it wouldn't affect their use of the line, and in terms of the guys from PennDOT, unfortunately, I can't mention any of those names for obvious reasons. The one fellow who knows a lot about the efforts I made through PennDOT, however, is Tim Anderson. He retired about 2 years ago, and he was familiar with my proposals to Dan Cessna, the former CEO there, and was and thought they were quite capably done. He, by the way, is the fellow who runs the food bank at the Bridgeville Bethany Church, I think, once a month. And another person of importance that you can call, especially since flooding is still a major problem, is Bill Sergia, Sergia. You can reach him at 717-783-0369. He was the fellow that he was the fellow that Mike Tomer, Bill Clusi, and I drove up to the McLaughlin Run Creek several years ago because he wanted to take a look at the upstream contour. That's that 7 square mile area that keeps flooding. Bridgeville. He mentioned one thing that I recall, that in addition to trying to widen and deepen the creek bed of the creek through Bridgeville, he said, since we're at the bottom, obviously, of the stream, we have a major debris problem. And he said, you're going to have to, he said, don't think that the usual solutions to the problem are going to solve the problem. He said, you're going to have to do something about either increasing the speed of the water through the creek bed. At any rate, let's not talk about that. You guys can work that out. But another person I spent a lot of time making presentations for Bridgeville too is Andy Waples. I think he's the CEO of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Planning Commission. Just several months ago, he allowed me to place 2 2-foot by 3-foot drawings of the solution to Bridgeville's traffic congestion problem at their annual meeting at the downtown Pittsburgh. And when the meeting was over, he asked if he could keep the drawings to study. And before, the fellow that I was dealing with before, whose name I forget, was in charge of the community relations. And he came with me to meet with the South Fayette Township engineer about 4 or 5 years ago to endorse the fundamental two-way couple through Bridgeville and eliminating the 1,000 foot long 2-lane restriction. And what else can I think of? Oh yeah, one other thing you might find interesting.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who, Wheeling Lake Erie, you mentioned a fellow by the name of Casey Connor. What's his role there?
You know what? I'm not sure what his role is. He seemed to be an engineer type, but he was he spent excuse me, who am I talking to?
This is Bill Henderson.
Oh, William. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize. Yeah, he spent 20 minutes. I was very surprised about the phone call, and he spent 20 minutes on the phone with me, and we went over all aspects of the possibility. And I might mention he, like most of these other people at the Army Corps and behind the door, through the back door at PennDOT, he mentioned very specifically that unless the solution to the traffic that involves extending the railroad bridge, unless the solution eliminates the entire traffic problem for Bridgeville, South Fayette, and Collier, he said we'll never get any money, and we've all been talking about that for years. We have to make it a comprehensive 3-community solution, but the solution's been before us for a long time. But his name was Casey Connor, I believe.
Yeah,
I'm certain.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean. I just want to mention one other thing that indicates the approach that we as officials, I'm not an official, but you as officials have to take. I don't know if you remember when PennDOT wanted to widen the South End Bridge over the Chartiers Creek between Bridgeville and South Fayette 6 feet. there were two people. They PennDOT publicized in the newspapers and every place else that would cost $500,000 to move the above ground gas terminal and move a simple electric line over the bridge. But the people that from the People's Gas Company and the electric company that came through with cost estimates that proved that it was only $130,000 was George Pizzuto, and he's at 724-830-5219, and Janice Kraus, Kraus. She's at 412-258-4459. The point I'm trying to make is we can't sit around anymore and just allow PennDOT or anybody else to push us around and not give us the money that we're entitled to. If it requires some research, if it requires going to different sources of cost estimates, that's what we've got to do. And I'd like to just end up by mentioning this.
All right, let's move forward.
Okay, I just want to mention one more thing, and it'll take a minute. Last week, I dropped off a request for documents with with Cheryl down at the office.
We all got copies of that today.
Okay, that's good. Then that tells you what I'm on to. I'm really serious. I really want to be on the planning commission. I don't think any other candidate can help the town as much as I can, and I'll be more than just disappointed if I'm not appointed. And again, hey, thanks for your time again, guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Hey, Bill,
Yes,
I'll make a quick comment.
go ahead.
We've got two other candidates for this position, and Bob knows his way around meetings and whatnot. I'm not so sure the other two candidates were aware of this. Bob more or less presented in addition to his resume. And somehow I think these other two candidates ought to get a shot at presenting what they want to present. And that's all I have to say.
Yep,
I
fair
agree.
enough, Joe. Yep.
I
Yeah,
agree.
absolutely.
That's very, very fair. I agree.
Who do we have next?
Matter of fact, excuse me.
Bob.
Yes,
I got your point. We got your point, and we appreciate your interest. And but we're going to move forward with the next speaker here. Who do we have next?
Hi, Kirsten and Milena Rogers definition. I thank you all for your time and for your service and your dedication. I would like to respectfully request a revision of the standing ordinance for chicken keeping in the borough. According to Section 2, Part 1, Section 101, which is the only ordinance that you can find online for people here in the borough. A small animal is a chicken. So, and under that, and there's a number of other ones, but the chicken falls under that, under Chapter 2, Part 1, Section 103. It outlines how you are supposed to keep said chickens. And this is what I have used for a number of years. It's what I printed out when my husband and I started keeping chickens. Now, my daughter, who wanted to start keeping chickens as well, asked again, am I allowed to keep chickens? I said, according to the ordinance that are online, you are allowed to keep chickens. All of our surrounding communities, South Fayette, Upper St. called Cecil at chicken keeping. Some of them have permits that you need to have. Some of them have boundaries as far as how far you have to be from a roadway or a neighbor's property line. And I would truly just like to request a revision of the ordinance. What I would like is, because if the ordinance that is here states that you need to have 25 feet from a property line. Many lots in Bridgeville are only 50 feet wide. I would like to 20 feet from a property line. That way you're not excluding everybody in town who only has a 50-foot lot. I do think that there should be a limit on chickens. You know, I don't think anybody needs to have 100 chickens or 50 chickens or
25. even.
25 chickens in their yard.
No.
However, for their own family's consumption, I think in today's world of clean eating, no antibiotics or no processed foods, an awful lot of people are preferring to have this over the white carton that you pick up in the grocery store. The last thing that I would like to mention, and I hate to take up your time, I know you guys have a bunch of stuff to get to, is my daughter got a notice on the 1st of August. And the notice says final notice. Now, she never got, in my experience here in Bridgeville, if there is a complaint, normally you get a call from the borough or you get a police officer who comes up and says there's been a complaint, at which time you have the freedom to talk about the issue and resolve it so that there are no further complaints. If there is, then usually you'll get a second notice in the mail or something that says first class mail. But for a very first communication about a complaint, to have a letter like this sent, I don't really think that's meritable. I have a lot of facts about chickens. If you'd like to, if any of you would like to hear any of them, like I said, I know you guys have a bunch of stuff to get through here. I would, like I said, respectfully request that this ordinance be looked at. And in this letter that they sent, they refer to another ordinance that is not viewable for the public online. So I'm not sure where that ordinance came from. And they did not print the full ordinance here in the letter, so I cannot give you any. The only thing I can give you is Chapter 2, Part 2, Section 201.
Thanks, Kirsten. First of all, let's address there was a legitimate complaint made, and we're not here to discuss the validity of it or whatnot. Our new manager arrived a couple weeks ago to a stack of complaints in town that had really gone undressed for a number of months, and as we would expect, he's begun to address these issues, and that's what led to the letter that you got. So that said, our solicitor provided us with some legal opinion on the matter, which in his opinion does support that our ordinances currently do not allow for raising chickens in a borough. And I'll let him speak to that. The issues come up before, and we've had some preliminary discussions about it. I'm in agreement with you that in our world today, whether it's COVID or farm to table talk or all that goes with it, I think there's room for discussion. I'm one person on this board, but I think there's room for discussion about it. But I want you to know that the letter you got was based on a decision that the solicitor did some legal research on. So, Tom, you have anything you want to add right now?
Yeah, Bill, just calling kind of balls and strikes on it without an opinion pro or con. When you look at the ordinance in Chapter 2, even though in the definition section it includes fowl, chickens within the definition of small animals, the operative section technically prohibits fowl. So technically we do not presently allow them in the borough. And as Mr. Henderson said, if council wishes, they are in vogue in many places. Different regimes that you can go with. I may have in the past, and am happy to provide folks want to review potential, ordinances. And even the city of Pittsburgh, for example, down to a 45-foot lot, they kind of proportion the numbers you're allowed to have within reason. No roosters, sanitation rules and whatnot is what you commonly see in the ordinance. But, hyper technically speaking, I do believe our ordinance presently doesn't allow them.
Okay, again, that said, I've had some brief discussions with others, and the floor is open to any other council people here. I think there's some room for discussion to work with you,
Yeah.
Kirsten, and some others to find a way to do this where we're not interfering with neighbors or whatnot. So if you'd allow us some time to come up with that.
I think that would be wonderful. And, I don't mind saying, they need to be kept in their pen. They're not allowed to range. I don't mind a number limit per family, depending on size. The Bott family might have needed 2 dozen chickens in their backyard. But, the Henderson family at one point might have needed 2 dozen chickens in their backyard. Right now, there are a few people in town that probably only need 4 chickens to have, fresh eggs on a daily basis. Although there are other people in town that I've spoken to, because of dietary needs, they eat a lot more eggs than you or I do, and they may eat 4 to 6 eggs a day because they're restricted by so many other foods. And I think, in this day and age, with so many of our surrounding neighbors addressing and allowing this, I think maybe we need to, catch up with the times and get an ordinance that is going to be something that's going to make everybody happy.
Mr. Henderson, I forgot to mention too, I'd be happy, Joe and I'd be happy to feed some samples to the Planning Commission in advance of their upcoming meeting. And let me say, I was just corrected on the use of the term hyper technically. It's just regular technically. It's what the definition says.
Mr. Solicitor, is it okay if we make a motion on the floor at this time to have this ordinance looked at and reviewed, please? Or should I wait till new business?
You can do it now or new business. You can direct us to refer samples to the Planning Commission, actually, and ask the Planning Commission to make recommendations for you at your next meeting. That would just be a motion to, a resolution, so to speak, to resolve and ask the administration and Planning Commission to make recommendations regarding such an ordinance.
Thank you. I would like to do so at this time, make a motion for recommendation for Planning Commission and Administration Committee to revise and amend this ordinance, please.
I'll second that. Bruce.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our motion passes. We'll get with you, Kirsten, and we'll get something together.
Thank you very much for your time. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Thank you.
Anybody else we have in the room that wants to speak? I'll take silence as no. Okay, we'll move on with the regular course of business. I need a motion to approve the July 13th, 2020 regular meeting minutes as submitted.
Bruce, so moved.
Do I have a
BJ.
second? BJ second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to approve the August 2020 bill list.
Joe will move.
Nick, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to approve the August 14th, 21, 28, September 4th, and 11th, 2020 payrolls.
Joe Colosimo moves.
Bruce, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to authorize partial payment number 1 final from Victor Paving and Construction Incorporated for contract number 19R01, 2019 Road Improvement Program, in the amount of $102,805.89, payable from the Liquid Fuels Fund as reviewed and recommended by the Borough Engineer.
I'll move.
Second.
Joe and Nino, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. I need a motion to award bid and authorize Stefanix Next Generation Contracting Company Incorporated to repair the concrete head walls to the commercial street culverts in McLaughlin Run Creek at the price of $20,974.
I'll move.
I'll second, Nick.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to adopt resolution number 2020-11, a resolution of the Borough of Bridgeville approving the Coronavirus Relief Fund recipient agreement with the County of Allegheny.
I'll move.
Bill.
BJ moved. Do I have a second?
Bruce second.
Bruce second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any idea when we'll see that money, Joe? Joe Cower.
I'm not sure. I have to submit the application this week.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. All right, thank you. I need a motion to appoint William Johnson as full-time police officer from the eligibility list as certified by the Borough Civil Service Commission on August 6th, 2020, subject to passing the physical and psychological examinations.
Bruce, so moved.
Nick seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Question, I got a question. I just want to let you know that there was 6 candidates that had taken application. 5 showed up, and we ended up with 4 that passed the test, all the tests, and Bill Johnson was the top candidate in the whole list. So as from civil service, I just want to thank the new members of civil service for helping us. Lisa's with us now, but it was interesting to only have a handful of candidates. So, but moving forward, Bill Johnson was the best candidate to the top of the list. So,
Yeah, part-time, Bruce.
What was that?
Is he our part-time officer right now?
yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that. And thank you, Lisa, for your work on the Civil Service Commission. So motion was on the floor and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to appoint Dane Lauer as a part-time police officer, subject to passing the physical and psychological examinations.
Bruce, so moved.
Nick seconds.
Second.
Bruce and Nick, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. I need a motion to accept and pay any commission due July 2020 real estate tax collector report.
I'll move.
Bruce will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to accept the June 2020 treasurer's report.
Joe V move.
Second, BJ.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to accept the July 2020 police report.
So moved, BJ.
Nick second.
Bruce, move.
We got BJ moved and Nick second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The close
Opposed?
third for Bruce.
Oh, I'm for it.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's move on to committee reports. Administration, Virginia Snyder.
Mr. President, you have my full report, but I would like to mention at this time that it was brought to our attention, or there is a request from the administrative offices that we consider changing the times for business. So we have approved that. Therefore, the times will now be 8 to 4 as opposed to 8 to 4:30, effective today, August 10th, 2020. And the reason for that, partially to the reduced amount of foot traffic in the building after 3:30, lack of the employees being at lunch outside of the building, so they were eating lunch at their desk and taking less than a half hour, or eating and working at the same time. So we can revisit that at another time if need be. But currently the hours will be from 8 to 4 p.m. and changes have been made to the website and the doors to notify the public. I don't know if there's another place, Joe. I think that's it for now. Okay. And the other issue that came up was apparently in the past, and I was unaware of this, it was brought to my attention that there are several people that bring their sewage bills or their sewage bills down to the borough building. And they had been kept there for a time until someone from Jordan Tax would pick it up. Since COVID, these bills haven't been picked up and some of the residents have received delinquent fees due to that. So we decided that since the payments are to go to Jordan and they provide an envelope with their bill, these residents should no longer drop it off. We won't be taking these bills at the borough building. They'll have to send it directly to Jordan. So the staff will let them know, and we'll also update that on the website. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thanks, BJ. And in our discussions, I think we were receiving on average 8 to 10 payments a month. Is that correct?
Right.
In that venue. And really, I think we're doing this to protect those 8 to 10 people from getting late fees. If you can drive them down to the borough building, then it's probably best that you drop it in a mailbox and guarantee you're going to get them to the appropriate place so that they're registered. So thanks, BJ. Finance, Joe Verducci.
Finance Committee's been very busy. Before I start that though, I know I mentioned, or Bill, you mentioned this for me last month. It's very important. You've been seeing TV commercials. You've been receiving all kinds of mail. I got 1, 2, I probably have 5 or 6 here, but that's how important it is to fill out your questionnaire for the Census 2020. Please remember that those things, when you're counted, that goes towards the funding for Bridgeville. So it's very important that we get a full count and be able to take advantage of that, because in the past that hasn't really been the case. So please, if you get it in the mail or just go to their website, or which is my2020census.gov, and they even have an 800 number if you wanted to just call that, 844-330-2020, and you could just answer the questionnaire there. So that's that. As far as the Finance Committee, ever since the last council meeting, we've met quite a few times. This last week, we met with Borough Manager Joe Carr to discuss where do we stand as far as the budget. And he did a lot of great comparisons from last year, and we're neck and neck right with it. So the anticipated concerns on a few different items like earned income tax, a few other items, we're right in line. We're not too far off, if we are even off. Obviously, the real estate taxes are coming due the end of this month. So to take advantage of those discounts, please make sure your mortgage company and or yourself send those bills in as soon as possible. And there was a couple items on the budget that were a little off as far as expenses, but it was understandable. Like, we had explanations on each of the different things. So we're in good shape there. Finally, and you're going to hear this from our engineer, that we have a ton of projects that are going to be happening this fall, which requires some money, which when we did all the planning for the budget this coming year, we were really wanting to go forward and get a lot of this flood mitigation stuff done, and a lot of the different projects, McLaughlin Park, just lots and lots of things that have been sitting on the back burner that we haven't gotten done or just haven't had the ability. And we have postponed considering financing or anything because we were waiting for all these permits and everything to be approved. Well, we gotten to that point, and I'm pretty excited that you're going to see a lot of stuff going on. Kevin's I'm sure going to be talking about a few of those things this fall. So what we have the Finance Committee is suggesting is, I don't need a vote today, but we are going to talk to a few banks and have conversations in regards to getting that loan that we talked about at the beginning of the year when we were doing the budgets. We're going to go full throttle and try to get as many projects as we can done this year and going forward. So there was a lot of planning in the last 2 years, and now we're finally going to be able to see some things being done. So I'm really excited about all the things, but that is where we stand. We met with one bank this morning that gave us a lot of positive feedback. Rates are ridiculous where they are. So it's what did you say, Joe Carr? It's almost like it's free. You can't say that, but that's it's close. So very excited, and we'll bring back another report. Hopefully, actually probably before the next meeting, but we're going to be close, and we'll talk more about it at the next meeting. Any questions for me?
Thanks,
all
Joe.
I have, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Parks and Recreation, Joe Colosimo.
Yeah, I got not too much. We need a little bit of rain because the parks are burning out. But one small issue, which I've been going on and on over for years now, is the camera down in Chartiers Park. I guess last month we had an issue. Somebody got down in there and dumped some tree clippings and trees and whatnot. And they just dumped them down there where our guys used to shred the material that they would collect. If we'd have had the camera down there, we probably would have caught the person that did it. And I mentioned it to Joe, and he's going to look into it. It's in the budget. I think it's time to get the camera. And that's basically all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Public Works, Nino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't tell you that we've been cutting grass, but we've been cutting some weeds. Try to keep everything look nice, and that's done. The public work has been very busy. They're doing the creek right now, and many other little things. I don't have the note in front of me, but they are very, a lot of things goes on. They did so much. I don't remember if we ever painted the stripe yet. We want to do it one time, and then it was threatening of rain, and we don't do it. Joe, how we stand with the marking the stripe in ton? We haven't done it yet, right?
They started about 2 weeks ago, and the game plan is to finish up this week.
That's what I thought. Very good. Yeah, we had to quit because it was threatening of rain. So they need also a good word. I mean, they've been doing a heck of a good job for the few people we have. And that's about it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nino.
Mhm.
Public Safety, Bruce Gallarducci.
Yes, the only thing I have, Bill, is the fire chief had some concerns, and public safety was going to meet with him, but we waited till Joe came on board, and Ray and Joe Cower got together and they worked through the issues. And my understanding is, with the help of the building inspector and that, they were working through the issues. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Mayor Betty Copeland.
Thanks, Mr. President. I only want to congratulate our Chief Costain and his wife for their 11th year anniversary, Councilman Joe Verducci and his wife for their 25th anniversary, Councilman Joe Colosimo and his wife for their 40th anniversary. God bless all of them. Thank you very much.
Your Honor, I'm going to mention probably the longest one. Just a couple of days ago was 60 years for me. I don't need any comment.
Well, I'm sorry. If I'd known about it, I would have been happy to mention it.
That's okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah. Police Chief Chad King.
Thank you, Council President. I want to start off by thanking the Civil Service Commission, Public Safety, the Borough Council, and the Mayor. We were able to get through this process pretty quickly as far as getting some folks hired. Although the numbers were low, I can tell you that the candidates we have are very good. We had some quality candidates, and numbers are low across the board in every community right now. This isn't the most popular profession that one can choose at the moment. But I'm confident with the guys that we choose to hire, and Officer Johnson should be starting on the schedule next Sunday, provided everything goes well this week, and probably have Officer Lower start the following week after that, sometime after the 21st. I do have a plan in place to introduce these new guys to the community. We had a local business owner step up. His name will be disclosed later in a Facebook post, but he has offered to foot the bill for a Kona ice truck. So I'm thinking we're going to do a little event called Snow Cones with the Cops, and we'll probably have that scheduled sometime late in the month in August to introduce the two new officers to the community. And that's all I have at the moment. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. That's a great idea. I'll look forward to that. Solicitor Tom McDermott.
Yes. Well, I was going to mention Nino's anniversary in my report, but he stole my thunder. Other than that, you have my written report, and I don't have anything to add to that this evening.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Borough Engineer Kevin Britt.
Yes, good evening, everybody. We did submit our report dated August 5th. I did want to update on a few of the projects. As you've seen tonight, we did close out the 2019 roads. 2020 roads, I would expect over the next 30 to 45 days, they should be in to complete the paving. They're over in South Fayette right now, completing a large contract. So I know you're on the schedule to complete with their roads as well. And then as discussed, there is a number of projects that are either getting underway or will be going out to bid. A pre-construction meeting will be held on McLaughlin Run Park Phase 2 on the 14th to discuss getting that project started. They have a number of materials, et cetera, to get ordered. We did get a notice from the county that everything we submitted was approved, and you should be getting your agreement for the GEDF. Once that comes in, we're ready to go to bid on the Janeway project, the McLaughlin Run Park Flood project, which is in that. You did already award and is being built, Maple Street, and then another GEDF is Bower Hill Road. Those will all come with the same agreement. We also did have a meeting with the manager to review all the projects. Had a really good meeting with Joe to discuss where everything's at and discuss some additional grants that's out there. The only thing we didn't get through, and I told him we would have a subsequent meeting, was on GROW grants for the sanitary sewers. That's a program that you haven't had any funding from, but you are eligible from Elcasan. We've been in discussions with Elcasan on how to package a project that you could have some funding for sanitary sewers. There are improvements that have been made or improvements that you still need to make. That has to be by point of connection, and it has to be at least $100,000 project. And we believe we have a number of projects that may qualify for that. So we'll be working with Joe and the SOAR committee to discuss that and future wars. There has been a notice too that in close COA expect over the next 60 days. Tom will be bringing that forward once the consent order is negotiated through DEP, at least with that first draft. Any questions?
I had one, Kevin. You're talking about the GEDF agreement?
Yes.
So that goes through, so is bidding estimated next month?
Yes.
September?
Yeah.
So then once you do, well, will that work then go through the late fall, or that won't be until next spring?
Yeah, it'll go through late fall. Looking at these projects, they can be completed in the winter, actually. So I would expect to close them out in the first quarter. But we would like to have bids opened, especially on the park project, to get the dirt out of there from the field as soon as possible. So we would have that be as short of window of bidding as we can once the agreement's in place. So that work will be ready to go the second that agreement comes. The biggest thing there is a minority participation notice requirement within that grant. So once you get the agreement, we have to go through the county to get the wage rates and then get that notice put out, which we would do immediately. So, any other questions?
For the engineer, is that include the parking lot over the building? I understand, right? When young construction comes into the road, am I correct, or I'm missing something?
Yeah, the parking lot at the building, Youngblood, that's an ad alternate. It's paid for out of the general fund, but it is part of the liquid fuels bid.
It's part of the, for reasons, so we can, yeah, that's fine. I meant to say when it's going to be done.
I would think over the next 30 to 45 days. I have asked for a schedule out of them. I know they want to fit it in while they're in the area, and they have 5 municipalities in the area, and you're one of them. So they're going to be here for probably the remainder of the year. So,
but we got the bids already, or never we did.
Yes, we did. Yes, got a very good number too.
So good, I remember that. So it's been locked and done to go. Also, just for council, whoever may be want to push that, we should definitely start to design a sign that we always say we're going to do that for less, at least since we demolished the place. So I don't know who going to be. Maybe we put this on a new manager, at least to start some kind of drawing, Joe. If you know anything about the sign, if you don't, just ask any one of us, and we will definitely tell you.
He's already working on it, Nino.
Oh, that's so wonderful! I tell you, I'm sorry, Joe. I don't know you were that fast. I appreciate it. There is another thing that slipped out of my mind that we, in the meeting with Joe, we talk about it, and I'm embarrassed that I forgot what it was. That was minimum. So if I remember before we close, I thought the BJ is going to mention that. Okay, that's all I have.
You sure?
Positive. If I
Okay.
remember that, a very little incident, something very small.
Okay.
I just want you guys to know.
All right. Thanks, Nino.
Welcome.
And thanks, Kevin. Appreciate your work. Fire Chief Ray Costain.
Thank you, Council President. Bridgeville Volunteer Fire Department responded to 46 calls for service in the month of July. And I just want to take a moment to thank our borough manager and the Public Safety Committee for their swift action dealing with our concerns from the nuisance alarms at the Washington Avenue business. So that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thanks, Chief. Did Dan Miller show up? I didn't see him pop on there. No, I don't see him on it. How about Mary Weiss? Is Mary Weiss here?
She asked me to ask when our banner might be put back up on the wall on Washington Avenue. I know it was taken down so that the flag could be placed there, but she would like to know if the banner that recognizes all businesses in Bridgeville that have been here for 50 years or more could be put back up on the fence.
Mayor Copeland, we plan to put that back up before Labor Day weekend. So I talked to Mary Wise about that, and that's in the works. So it should be up for that holiday weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mayor. Anyone from the library present? All right, no one there. How about Parking Authority? No. Planning Commission, I didn't see, I did see Mike Tolmer. Mike, is there anyone else on?
I don't believe so.
You have anything for us, Mike?
As some of you were at the last meeting, we kind of wrapped up our, I'm just going to call it our year-long series on potential projects that we're looking at to present to council. So we're going to kind of did, Tim Knapp did his Foursquare where everything kind of fell into place, and we put our little beans in each pot. And as you saw, one of the major issues that we want you guys to look at for next year's budget is to start looking at a comprehensive plan. There was some other issue. There was some other projects we want to look at as well, but that was the big thing that we want to push forward. But that will probably be put towards you in an official format from Planning Commission. That's it.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And I won't steal Joe's thunder, whether he mentions it or not. I know he's already talked about initiating that. So anyway, without further ado, I'll introduce our new manager, Joe Cower. Welcome, Joe, your first meeting. Appreciate your first 2 weeks, and have at it.
I just want to thank everyone for being so welcoming. The transition is going rather smooth. It's been rather painless. We're getting caught up on a lot of things that's been hanging over the summer months, as you probably heard throughout the meeting. I submitted my report. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. On the report is just noteworthy items going on in the borough office. We continued the project log. A lot of that, you'll see the updates in red in your report. And then lastly is the code enforcement reports attached with permits issued for the month.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe? Okay, anything under old business? Nothing under old. How about new business? All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second, Joe Colosimo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys. Thank everybody.
Thank you, everybody.